So I'm on Chilliwack where I store my bikes. I'm going to take apart the IT200 today a little bit. I might have to pull the cylinder off, but we're going to start with just pulling the stator off and changing the crank seal. It idles up pretty high once the bike is warmed up, so I'm guessing I've got an air leak somewhere. We're going to start with the stator seal because that's the easiest one to work with, and if that doesn't fix the problem, then we're going to pull the cylinder off, change the bottom cylinder gasket and the carb intake boot gasket. So we're going to start by removing the stator cover. We've got 4 screws, one here, there, and there. The next step is to get this nut off right here. So this Tusk wrench here was a fairly inexpensive tool that I picked up locally here. The quality is really pretty good. I looked at it before I bought it. I checked it against some of my other tools and I couldn't see any issues with it, and I haven't had a problem with it at all. My wrench on there, and put this on, and just allow the punch stator tool to rest up against the foot peg right here, and we'll just crack this nut. Okay, so we got the nut cracked. Take my wrench off now. Take this nut off. So this is the other tool we'll be using. I got this off of eBay. It was very inexpensive and very worthwhile to have. I recommend buying this if you're going to be working on dirt bikes at all. I think I paid less than 20 bucks for it. You just cannot go wrong. Let's just see here. Pretty sure I got the right size here. Okay, so I don't like the way that that's going in. It might have a different thread pitch there. Okay, so during the removal of the flywheel, I ran into some issues with the tool that I was using. The depth was not enough to get it far enough into the magneto, and the hole for where the bolt goes through to go up against the crank was not large enough to allow me to get the tool far enough in. So I had to go over to Gnarly and pick up a proper tool so that I could get it threaded into the magneto far enough to be able to get it off. Prior to doing that, I decided that I would remove the cylinder and change out the base gasket and the carb intake gasket and see if that was a problem before replacing that crank seal. So I got the carburetor out, zap strapped up out of the way. I got that, can't remember what that thing is called, that adds air in right there into the manifold. Now we've got the exhaust off. Going to take the 4 nuts off, and I'm going to remove the head and change that base gasket. Okay, so I got the cylinder off. It was really hard to tell whether or not that base gasket was leaking. There's a good possibility. Everything else looks fantastic in there. Piston, cylinder, mint condition. So pretty happy about that. So if at all possible, whenever you're replacing your parts, try to get original OEM parts. So this gasket is an original gasket for this model. I'm sure this gasket was used on a few different bikes. I think the Blaster uses the same one as this. But genuine Yamaha parts. You'll find that if you're using genuine parts in your bike, it'll probably work better. That's not to say that there isn't good quality aftermarket parts. I use a lot of aftermarket parts because you can't get genuine manufacturer parts anymore. But if possible, spend the extra $1 or $2 and pick up genuine parts. We've got a nice OEM Yamaha base gasket here. Base gaskets can go on different ways, so make sure you look at your manufacturer specifications. This one has a special silicone that goes around it, and although the gasket is almost identical, the holes on this side are larger. There are dowels over on that side, so there's only one way for this to go on, which is great, so you don't have to figure it out. Now when you put your cylinder back on, remember there are pins inside your piston. You got one right there, and then on this one we got it over on the other side, and it's there's a little marker, a little pin in there. You got to make sure that your rings are lined up with those pins when you put the cylinder back on, or you're going to have serious seizure issues. Okay, so make sure that, you know, this one, it won't actually allow it to pass, but I know on my CR250 I could actually take the ring and I could spin it past that locking pin. So make sure that your rings are in the right position for that. Wish I could have had my camera set up for that, but that went really easy. I brought the cylinder head in over from this side, and I took my right hand, I brought it right through here, squeezed the rings together, and then just slid the cylinder right back over top of the piston, and it was a piece of cake. Not a problem at all. So it's still got the loopy idle after replacing the head gasket, base gasket, carb intake gasket, rebuilding the carb. So it's got to be that crank seal. I'm going to have to get the proper tool to change it out. So back from gnarly parts. He had what I needed. He had the Tusk flywheel puller. It's 27 mil reverse thread, and it's a lot deeper than the one that came with my set. We got the stator off, and this has something I haven't seen before. It has a retaining clip for the seal, the crank seal. Now, the problem with that is that screw is in there real good, and I did not bring my impact driver. I got really lucky. My screwdriver was an absolute perfect fit for that Phillips screw. It couldn't have fit any better than that. And I used my vice grips, and what do you know, I got it loose. So I'm gonna get to change the seal. I'm running out of time on my phone here, but I just wanted to quickly show you. Here was the problem with the seal. You can see that right there, and behind that screw you can see airspace through there. The seal was worn out. So we got the brand new seal right there. We're going to throw that in, and that should fix the problem with the IT200. So we got that crank seal replaced. My phone's going to die here in a couple of seconds, and the bike is running fantastic. It's idling absolutely perfect. So can't wait to go out riding tomorrow. Tyson's going to be pretty excited. It's running the way that it should. Brand new crank seal, brand new base gasket, head gasket, and intake boot gasket. Alright, fantastic. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.